Hey Chan Physics, this is Mr. Block, and for those of you guys who've already had the why do we have to learn conversions? All you need to do is watch this video on how to do conversions. And so week 4, day 2, this should be right after you've done graphing and just before you come in where we're going to learn how to do conversions in the classroom. We want to introduce the idea to you so that you have some ability to do it right away. So this is an introduction. So we had this for some people, but how do we do conversions? And so I'm going to pick up the video that I've already done here, and then you guys can watch it from here. So we have to learn how to do conversions, right? We see that this was an interesting problem, but why is it important to us? Well, we need to know how to do conversions for a lot of different things I think I talked to you about. And so it's going to be the last thing that we're going to learn before our first test. And we're going to take some time so that you guys get used to it. So first thing I need to show you is that you already know how to do conversions. And you already know how to do it in the way that we're going to teach you. And you have to say to yourself, well, wait a second, I thought you said this was a new idea. It is a new idea in that you've never written it down before, but you can do it in your head. And so let's figure out why it is that we know how to do conversions, and then number 2, how do we then take that idea and put it in writing? Okay, so I'm going to ask you first if you can think, and you said, if I was to ask you, if you had 3 feet, how many inches would you have? All right, so if you have 3 feet, how many inches do you have? And if we were in class right now, a majority of you guys would be able to get up and say, well, Mr. Block, I know for sure that's 36 inches. You'd know it. You'd know you were right. You wouldn't know exactly how to tell me how to do it. And then if I had told you, if you had 3 feet, how many yards would you have? And most of the people who follow football would go, well, I know that's 1 yard. Mr. Block, I know that. Okay, so let's think this through. What if we were to draw that out? So here I'm going to draw 3 boxes, right? And we have 12, 12, and 12, right? Well, we have 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, right? We know that that's 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches. And so in our head, we're like, oh, I know I just have to take 3 feet, and I know there's 12 inches in every foot, and that makes 36. Right? And that's what 36 inches looks like. It looks like 3 rulers back to back. Now, if we follow football, we know that there in every yard there is 3 feet, right? And that's the same distance, right? 1 yard looks like this. It's just 1 yard, and it's the same distance, right? It's not a little bit shorter like I've done here. I've made a mistake there, right? It's the same distance. So how did we do that in our head? And if we learn how we did that in our head, then we can create a system that we can use over and over again. And so what I can tell you that most of you guys would say, well, I know, Mr. Block, that in every foot, there's 12 inches, right? And so you see that if I was to take this 3 times 12, I get 36, right? And you can see what I did was I took feet and I put it here on the bottom and I put inches on the top. I knew that I had to multiply, not divide. I knew I had to multiply. Somehow I just knew that. In here, right, when I do 3 feet equals 1 yard, well, then I would say to yourself, wait a second. I know that there's 3 feet in every 1 yard, right? And so 3 times 1 divided by 3, and I get 1. And this is the beginnings of how we're going to learn how to make conversion factors. And the reason why we know that we can do it is we know that 4 divided by 4 equals 1. And we know that 5.4 divided by 5.4 equals 1. And so what we need to remember is that a foot divided by a foot equals 1. They cancel out. And so that's the most important thing is we notice that when we look at our conversion, we cancel things out. We cancel the feet out, right? And then we're left with just a number of things. 3 times 12, 36, and inches. 3 times 1, and yards, divided by 3. So 3 times 1 divided by 3, we get 1. So we already know that. And so how did we do this? Let's learn how to build a conversion factor. So the way that we're going to do it now is we're going to take it and we're going to do a problem that we've never done before. Okay, let's do it in a way though that we know the answer. All right. So if we were to do a problem in the metric system and we'd say, all right, how many centimeters are there in 2 meters? Okay, and most of us know, at least, right, that there's 200 centimeters, or there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter, so there should be 200. So how should we go about doing this if we don't know that answer? And so what we do is we do a 6-step process. Right? First thing is when we have a conversion question, we take what's given to us and we put it right here, 2 meters. That's what's the given. And our goal is to find out how many centimeters, so we put a goal right there. That's our goal. That's step 1. All right. Step 2 is then build a conversion factor. So how do we build a conversion factor? Well, we put a line like that. And what we do for step 2 is we start by saying we need to get rid of meters. And so we start with our units. We say, well, I know that I want to get rid of meters, so I need to cancel that out. So I'm going to put that down here. And I know that I want to get to centimeters, so I'm going to put that right there. Right. So now we have a set of units in a conversion factor. Now we just need to get the numbers. And this is what we've been practicing. And so we say to ourselves, all right, I need to find a conversion factor between meters and centimeters. And I ask myself, which one is bigger? Is it meters or centimeters? And most of us know it, but if we don't, we just go to our sheet and we go, okay, here is our base, centimeters right down here. Since meters is on the upper part, meters is bigger, right? And so we put a 1 in front of it. And then we go back to our sheet and we say, okay, centi is down here from the 1, 2. So that's 1/100th. And so we put in the 100 right there. Right, so now we've got our 4 steps. We've built a proper conversion factor. Now we can make sure that we're correct by making sure that we can cancel out units. And so if the meters cancel out, which they do, right? Meters divided by meters is 1, and that doesn't affect anything. And we're left with centimeters, which is what our goal was. So our last step then is just simply do the math. 2 times 100, 200 divided by 1, still 200. So we get 200, right? And that's what we predicted our answer would be. Let's take a look at it one more time, and then I'll give you the steps in a slide so that you can see it. So what if we wanted to do something like, how many meters are in 5 kilometers? Right? So how do I convert from 5 kilometers to meters? Right? So remember our steps are, number 1, we take our given, 5 kilometers, we write that down. We write our goal over here, that's meters. So now we know what our goal is. That's step 1. Step 2, build a conversion factor. Now, step 3, we need to get rid of kilometers. So we're going to put kilometers on the bottom so that we can get rid of it. We have to get to meters, so we're going to put meters on the top. And now we need to put in our numbers, right? And so we say to ourselves, which one is bigger, kilometers or meters? Kilometers is bigger. So I'll put a 1 in front of it. I go to my yellow sheet and I say, what's my number for kilo? Well, here's base 1, 2, 3. So 1,000, right? 3 zeros. So there's 1,000 meters in every 1 kilometer. Right? And now we're ready to say, do our math, and we'll say, we gotta get rid of our kilometers, right? Because they cancel out. We're left with meters, which is what we wanted. And now we just have to do the numbers. 5 times 1,000 divided by 1. And we get 5,000. All right? So let me just make sure that I do the problems that I've got up here. We're going to do some examples. So here's our steps. And so you have it in a slide. Step 1, write down your given. Step 2, create a conversion factor, which is just write down a line. Step 3, write down the unit that you're converting from, the one you want to get rid of. Put that on the bottom or the top, depending on which way we're doing this. You'll see that sometimes we're going to start out, they're always going to be on the bottom, but eventually we're going to show you that you can convert things in a different way. So we just say we put it on the opposite side. Step 4, we put the unit we're converting to on the other side. Step 5, we ask ourselves which one's bigger. We put a 1 on it, and then we go to our sheet and we do step 6, we get the number. Once we have that conversion factor ready, then we'll just do the math by canceling out the units. Okay. So I have 3 examples that I want to do. We just did one, 5 kilometers to meters. So let's just take a look at that one on the camera. Okay, we just did 5 kilometers to meters. Right? We wrote down our given. We wrote down our goal over here. We created the conversion factor. Right? We want to get rid of kilometers, so we put it opposite. We wanted to go to meters, so we put it here. We asked ourselves which one's bigger, the kilometer, and then we put the number in. So let's do 2 more examples, and then we'll give you guys some homework. So the next example that they ask us to do is 355 centimeters to meters. And so how do we do 350 centimeters to meters? So step 1, write down our given, 300 centimeters. Write down our goal over here. That's what we're trying to get to. Step 2, build a conversion factor. That's just simply drawing a line, right? Step 3, we want to get rid of centimeters, so we put centimeters opposite. We want to get meters, so we put that up here. That's step 4. Step 5, we ask ourselves which one's bigger, meters or centimeters. We put a 1 in front of the bigger one, that's meters. And then we go to our yellow sheet. What's our number for centi? 100. And then we can do the math, which means we can cross out the units that we can get rid of. And now we can do the math, which is 350 times 1 divided by 100, right? 350 times 1 is 350 divided by 100 is 3.5. So there's 3.5 meters in 350 centimeters. All right, last one, and then I'm just going to leave you guys with 3 to do for homework. So the last one they do is 1.2 meters to millimeters. How do we do that conversion? And so here it is. I'm going to get a new sheet of paper for us. Hopefully one without a lot of dots on it. Okay, 1.2 meters, and they want to know how many millimeters that is. Right, 6-step process. Take what we're given, write it down, 1.2 meters. Take what our goal is, put it over here, millimeters. Right, that's step 1. Step 2, build a conversion factor. Step 3, we want to get rid of meters, so we put that opposite of our given, right? So we can cancel it out. We want to get to millimeters, so we put that on the top, right? Now we're at step 4. That was step 4, step 5, right? Which one's bigger, meters or millimeters? Meters the base, millimeters way down on the list, right? So we put a 1 in front of the bigger one. We look at our yellow sheet. We know that milli is 1, 2, 3 steps down, 3 zeros, right? And we get 1,000. Right? That's our 6 steps. Now we can just do the math. First math is cross out those units that we can cross out. Meters divided by meters will cross out. And now we can multiply 1.2 times 1,000, put it in our calculator, divided by 1. Right? And we're going to get 1,200 millimeters. That's how we do a 1-step conversion. It's just the basis of how we're going to do. We're going to learn how to do multiple step conversions. We're going to learn how to do conversions between the metric system and the US system. But this system, as long as you know how to do what I just taught you, how to use the 6 steps, you can build any kind of conversion, and you can do every kind of conversion that's necessary. And then when you get to chemistry, you'll know the system when they use this idea to do something much different. Okay. And so the last bit of this video is I'm going to turn off the camera and I'm going to give you some homework. And this homework is just going to be simple. Open up your notebooks and do these 3 conversions: 150 meters to kilometers, 358 centimeters to meters, and 451,000 millimeters to meters. Okay. Remember the 6-step process. If you want to go back in this video, right, I have the list right here of your steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then you do the math. Or remember the setup always is write the given down on the left, write the goal on the right, and then start building your conversion factor. All right, we will be looking when you come back to class for these 3 problems to be done on a sheet of paper so we can look at it and that we can build on this idea. Good luck to you guys, and I will see you A or B whenever it's time.